Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to FM21. It's Perfect Manager. We're on episode number 8. We kick off. We're partway into the second half of the season, and we find ourselves in a slightly different position here as we go and just blast the ball out of bounds, not even close to the target. That was wonderful. No, not really. That should have been a chance for White, but he really did not get on top of that ball well. That is one position I'd still really like to replace. But now there's a White in front and behind. Oh, awesome. Well, anyway, we'll come back to the two Whites in a second as Kazzetti gets his 15th goal of the season. He is our leading scorer. He does have our highest rating, and he gets us on the board pretty early in this one, just the 7th minute here. Parsons, nice little pass there. Siri finds Kazzetti in a little bit of space. No marking happening. That's zonal defense, and that gave him way too much space for a shot of the game, and we already lead 1-0. Anyway, the position we find ourselves in right now is we actually lead the league. We've caught up to Bury. We are same on points. It's only been a few matches from where we left off at the end of the last episode, which was the exact halfway point, so we're a few matches into the second half. But they've dropped some points. We haven't. We've won every match since where we left off, and we're on the same points, but we have I think it's a +6 on the goal differential as Copping should have scored. Are you kidding me? Through like that one-on-one, and the keeper's on the line. You got the whole goal gaping open, and kicks it at the goalkeeper. Davis pulls back, finds Reed. Reed back out there on the left side. Now, I have finally made a little bit of progress in terms of finding some players. We've now added 2 more to the roster since that few matches ago. And one of those are the new right back in Shane White. And he's a pretty solid player as Parsons makes it 2-0 at the half-hour mark. His just second of the season, was that? Ouch. A striker with only a couple of goals. Though the assistant manager never plays him, so he always comes in fresh. Looks like that might have been a bit of a nutmeg on that goal as well. 4-1 on the shot, 60% possession, but 2-0 on the scoreline, and looking relatively comfortable at the moment against the 5th place side. So it's pretty good opponent. Ooh, wow. Did we get away with a potential penalty on that one, or did we actually get the ball? Anyway, yeah, playing against 5th place side and being up 2-0. They were 4th place just a week ago, so they dropped some points in their last one as well. Davis sitting on a yellow. Not too worrying at this point, but we might want to switch that out as Lucas White, his 6th goal of the season. He's doing better than I thought. I mean, he's still not doing well. It's only 6 goals, because then he's got, 15? Parsons, nice one. Nice header there for White. Good finish. Solid right in the bottom corner. Well placed. Bury leads 1-0 on there, so they are keeping pace. We are comfortable with this one. I'm going to go ahead and say we're probably going to accumulate the 3 points here in a rematch against equal-on league leaders. We were on the road at Bury, and just 6 minutes into the game, we go down to 10 men. Now, I hit record, or at least I thought I hit record and didn't end up recording this game, so I'm so sorry about that. But I did play out this game and not just simming it. 6th minute, the probably justified, according to the match report. Live, it didn't look anything harsh. It looked like it was worthy of a yellow card, but Noah Coppin goes for a slide tackle. He's facing the correct direction. He's not behind the player. He doesn't come in harshly, but he slides as the player is running down the sideline. He slides across in front of him, and the player kind of chips the ball over him and then has his feet taken out in the follow-up as he, continues his move forward. It's not a studs up. It's not a dangerous kind of play. It's you went for a standard run-of-the-mill slide tackle and got outsmarted by the player with possession of the ball. But in getting himself taken out, you either 40% of the time you get a warning, especially that early in the game. 60% of the time, it's enough for a yellow card. 0% of the time is it red card type situation, at least the way it looked. Instead, he gets sent off straight. First foul of the game. And so then we go down to 10 men on the road at Bury, who beat us 2-1 at home at the start of the season. Now, we've got a couple players that we didn't have then, but we also lost one more player, I think, after that or just before that. Either way, I don't know. It was not looking good. What we did manage to do, though, from there is we changed our tactics. We went defensive, and when we had the ball, we just kept the ball away from them. For more than an hour of the game, we had a single shot. We weren't getting anywhere offensively, but we kept the ball long enough that we were keeping them away from it. Then we managed it so well for just about an hour. And then on that hour mark, we gave away a free kick on the edge of the box, and then they nearly scored on that, but then they end up getting a penalty on the very next play, and that was harsh. You won the ball, and then the player goes down after the ball has been won, and somehow gets the call, right? He got taken out, but the ball was won, and the ball appeared to be won cleanly. Of course, this game, you never know. Holmes makes a beautiful diving save and just keeps it out. And then on the subsequent corner kick, they again go close. And then like 2 minutes later, they have one more chance that goes close. So in about a 3-minute stretch, 4 or 5 close opportunities for Bury. But that was really all they managed throughout the game. And then we just start piling on yellow cards as we're desperately hanging on to a draw. And then literally out of nowhere, throw in. Ball returns right back to the throw-in man, and then the long ball into the box. Kazeni backpedals to reach it, and then just puts it up in the upper corner. And their keeper feet didn't even leave the ground. He couldn't get anywhere near it. And Kazeni scores. Reed was the one with the assist. He was the throw-in man who sent the ball in after it was returned to him. Scored. And we end up taking all 3 points. It was phenomenal. I'm, again, sorry that I didn't get that on camera. I hit the button. I don't know what happened. Maybe I didn't press it deep enough. Whatever it was, I didn't get the recording. So one more time, I apologize on that. But huge 3 points. 2 shots for the entire match to their 17. They only managed to get about 6 of those on target, and almost all of that came right around that 59th to 64th minute. We held out with 10 players for almost the entire match. Coppin suspended for 1 match. Here it says it was probably justified. Again, visually it didn't look like it should be. Holmes was fantastic with 8 saves and an 8.6 rating. He's 2 stars on our team, or at least according to the assistant manager. But he has been so good. And that is 9 straight now. 9 straight wins that we have managed, including that second place team. And that's going to open just a little gap. It's only 3 points, 24 matches played, 18 opposition. That means 36. So we've got 12 matches to go. Lots of season for only a 3-point gap. But of course, we also now have a +9 goal differential over them. And it's still only 6 points to Newark. So they've been winning too. I mean, we've won 9 straight, and yet that's all we've managed to do, including beating the direct opposition, in that 9-win stretch. We just beat Peacehaven. We just beat Aylesbury. All of our recent matches are against the top sides, and yet we still haven't really properly opened a gap. Peacehaven has a game in hand, and they're 13 points back. So even if they get a win in that one, they're still only 10 points back. This is not something we've opened wide up, and that's because the opposition just keeps on winning as well. So it's really hard to pull any sort of gap on these guys. But we've got some players in place. I think if we can manage to not lose any more players this season, we've got a real shot at the title, especially after pulling these 3 points. Let's go ahead and move forward in time. It's final day of January. Let's see if we can hang on to the lead that we now have over the next month. Not the month you would hope for as we go down 3-1. We pulled one back when it was 2-0, but then they get one more in the final waning moments of that match to seal the victory. And that was at home. But we do then go on to win the next two, and relatively comfortable. And then a last-minute comeback. We were down 2-0 on the road for this one at Staining. Parsons scores in the 88th. Shane White gets a penalty in stoppage time to draw level and at least secure a point. But 2 wins, a draw over 4 matches sees us fall to second place. So Bury back on top just like that. Goal differential only an advantage of 3 now. We're 2 points behind, and we are getting closer to the end of the season. Again, that's at 36. So we now have 8 matches left to play. We still have a 6-point gap over Newark, which is about where we were before. It's tough, though. It's tough. This is a team that's not quite there. In terms of that scouting mechanism, we're really not getting any closer at this point. So looking at some things, we have low reputation, right? We're still totally obscure, and no surprise on that. We're a brand new team. We have no money at this point, so I'm not sure what kind of board request might be possible. Certainly not one that's going to require a bunch of upfront costs. So finances, the payroll is already high. I don't think we want to push to a professional status right now when we're not actually doing anything. The junior coaching budget could be a thing that we might be able to get. No reason to do anything with the ground. Improve youth recruitment. That might be a place to go, because that's really just networking. So let's give this a shot, and we'll see how we're doing on that one. And it's rejected. Already good enough for a club our size. Yeah, we're still tiny, but we're trying to get beyond that. But it wasn't about finances, so maybe we can convince them. Let's give it a shot. Okay. Good enough. We therefore reject. I like the convince. Let's see, what can we do? Being left behind, lack of ambition. Argue that this is an area we can never be satisfied with. We should always be looking to improve and be the best that we can be. Shared a similar ambition? You're not. Insist one last time. Wow. Okay, well, we tried so many times, we don't need to back ourselves into a corner. It's rough first couple of seasons. We've just got to get some finances going for this club if we're going to go anywhere. And, of course, those finances at the moment are just about break even. I mean, first season was nice because we weren't paying anybody. Second season, we're not paying much. There's very little money coming out, but it's enough that it's bringing us right back down to nothing. I mean, this last month we lost $7,000 alone just in this last month. There was a lot of road games during that stretch. I think we had 3 road games, 1 home game. So the salaries part, player salaries is only $477, but it's the bonuses. Because we're only paying 1 player. Staff salaries is the other one. It's not quite as much as the bonuses, but there's fewer members involved. Travel costs as well. I suppose we are playing a little bit more widely than where we were as we've moved up into the Premier League on the peninsula part instead of just the west end of the peninsula. These players should be just taking themselves to the games. Coming up, we have a couple of home games with Hassocks, Saltdean, low enough in the table. Hopefully we should be able to see a result against them. And then we have Lockswood on the road. And then there's Newark. That's one of our big matches here late in the season. Skegness, when we close out, is another of the top teams. But Newark is the next big match. So we're going to go ahead and jump forward in time to that Newark match, and we'll see if there's any changes heading into that one. Presumably this late in the season, I don't expect much to happen. We should have another youth intake coming up somewhere middle of March or early April. I don't remember what the intake day was, as we kind of zipped past it last season. And speaking of, this is how our U18s look right now. Alfie Williams, the only one who's looking okay, and Alfie Williams actually isn't from the intake. Williams is somebody we signed on ourselves. He has improved a bit. He's at 1 star now, but he's still some way off being a contributing member of the squad. 4-point deficit, 5 matches to play. Most difficult match remaining on the calendar is this one. We are on the road at the 3rd place side while we sit in 2nd. Coppin can't get past his man back from his lengthy suspension. He had a couple matches added on to it, so apparently there was something to it that we didn't see, maybe a studs up on that tackle. Here's Parsons in possession. He's got defense on him, but help is coming. White in some space. He's going to take it all the way back to the corner, but he turns, gets that one to Kazeni, but it was behind Kazeni, who has to kind of drag his leg to retrieve the ball. And by the time he gets his feet set and the ball out in front of him, it's too late. Defense is there. Now White again. Better cross this time. Parsons has to retreat hardcore to get to it, and White should have done better. So both passes there from White are a little bit off, and now they've got a chance. We are the favorites today, but we'll see. We brought a pretty healthy crowd to this one as well. So or we brought a pretty healthy crowd, and they've got a healthy crowd. This is their home match, not ours. Yeah, we've got a battle on our hands. It's 5-1, us on the shot, 62% possession. Dangerous spot here for the free kick, and Haynes with his 4th goal of the season. Yes, the center back gets on the score sheet, and we lead 1-0. Gets up and over, rises above his man to win that header. Great free kick from Reed there, easily onside. Can we get the 3 points? We are now in must-win territory for these final 5 matches of the season, and only one of the 5 is against a bottom side, which isn't a bad thing, right? Because when you're facing relegation, you tend to fight harder in those last few matches of the season, desperately trying to get above the drop. And so facing bottom side. What is wrong with that? Crawford easily wins the ball, and then the guy just throws himself on the turf, and we're sitting here in a penalty situation right before half, and Holmes nearly keeps that out, but now we've got level score. Newark haven't been in this game at all. They get a single ball into the box and have a guy seemingly, I don't know, I'm accusing here, and it's probably not. It's probably a good call. But seemingly we have a guy taking a dive after losing possession of the ball, and we've got a total domination situation, and yet now we're level. Second half of a must-win game that we should be in control of, but aren't. Crawford now, the only player on a yellow. Siri, nice little turn there. Gets some space, but can't get his body around that one, and ends up well wide of the target. Siri is, well, a bit of a weak player that we've kind of had to settle for, and that goes in! Oh my goodness, Stephen Reed, his first goal of the season, and that was massive and massively lucky. This is how we got a lot of goals previously, throw-ins there, and that is just terrible goalkeeping. It was just across, goalkeeper goes up, center back stays away from it because it's keeper's ball. He's called him off, and it goes right through his hands. And we're drifting through. That was offside. Where's the flag? Where is the flag? He was well behind the defense, and instead we've got a corner kick here. Another questionable call, but Kazeni now off to the races. Where's the yellow card? No? Nothing? Yeah, thanks. Come on, ref. Whew. I'm getting a little fired up here because we need this one. 70 minutes now. 11-3 on the shots. we're out here dominating play. Parsons has picked up an injury, so Lovett's coming out. That was onside. And Holmes should have saved that one, and he doesn't. He read it all the way, but he dove over the top of it. I think he thought it was going to maybe go high post, so he read the right direction, but that was just terrible defending and really poor goalkeeping from Holmes, who, Holmes very much was going for high far post, and it ended up low far post. Nice ball for Lovett, and he gets flagged for offside. Really? Yeah, he certainly looked onside, just like it said here at the bottom a moment ago. You've got to be kidding me. This is absolute disaster territory. We are going to go very attacking. We have to win. Have to. And with Lovett out there, we're in a little bit of trouble. Completely dominated this game, and threw a silly penalty and one missed read from the keeper. Lovett, where's the penalty on that? Lovett just got taken out on that slide tackle, threw the man first before they got to the ball. And no call? Oh, crap. I think that's season done, folks. I think that's going to be season done. We only come away with 1 point. We were 4 points behind. So unless they've lost, and we can't count on that because they haven't been losing. Over the last 20 games or so, Bury dropped points only twice, and one of those was when we beat them. I think our season just went in the can. We're going to have a great second place finish, and that's a good season. 6 points adrift. 6 points back with 4 to play. They have to lose 2. We're behind on goal differential now as well, as they just win. Bury is not losing anything. I mean, they like I said, they've only dropped points twice in the last 20 matches or so. And that was Peacehaven that they just crushed 3-0 with a penalty to boot. We got our new intake, and there certainly is some potential there. You can see we've got a few players that are at 4-star potential, but nothing amazing. It's going to take years for that to develop, and hopefully, it seems like maybe not this season, but hopefully we're going to be moving up the ladder relatively quickly to the point where none of these youth players are really going to be worthwhile. We're going to have to upgrade some things to be able to make use of our youth system at any point in time. Maybe eventually we can sell some players and get something out of it, but there really isn't much to offer here. With 3 left to play, we still have a slight chance as Bury finally drop points. They take a draw, just their 3rd of the season. They were sitting on 2 draws and 3 losses for the majority of the year. I mean, they've taken so little, but finally they've dropped now 8 points in their last 21, give or take, and so slight chance now with 3 left to play, but still 4 points behind. So they're going to have to not just lose 1, they're going to have to also drop points somewhere else. So can they succumb to the pressure? Maybe this is the pressure of the looming title. It certainly is possible that is the case. Our hardest matches are all behind us, and most of what's left on the season, I mean, it's only 3, but 2 of the 3 are home matches. Skegness at the end of the season is going to be a little more challenging on the road, but can we grab wins in the next 2? Can Bury drop points somewhere, anywhere to give us a chance on the last day of the season? We'll find out. Frank Lovett got a penalty, so he was in the starting lineup for that one. Assistant manager, not sure about that decision, but there you go. He was in. That was the start of the season. Sorry, it was 4-0 on that last one. Lucas White getting 2. Noah Coppin and Crawford, center back, getting in on the mix there. So, dang, okay. Wick is next. They're 7th place, but we're at home. East Preston is 10th place, but we're at home. Again, not easy matches, but neither of those teams are playing for anything. There's no promotion possible for either one. They're long since eliminated from that, and neither one is near the relegation zone. Skegness is a little higher up, 5th place on the road. That's going to be a little more challenging, but I think in terms of matchups, all three of them are favorable to us, and we should come away with wins, results. And since losing to Newark back in November, we've been pretty dang good. I mean, we've only lost one, and we've had 3 draws, but drawing 2 of the last 3, both on the road, though, and one of those being Newark, where we got, I'd say, pretty unlucky, especially with that penalty call. We've played well. It's just Bury's been too dang good. So can they drop points again? Because, again, that's the only way we're going to get back in this. Let's go ahead and push forward those 2 matches and see if there's any chance for something to play on the last day of the season. Final minutes of the season. There was nothing to play for today, and it looks like we're going to drop even more points. We led 2-0 in this one, and then ended up with one of those absurd penalty calls where their player has back to the goal. He's just outside the box on the byline, so he's on the outer edge of the box. He's outside the box. The ball's outside the box. The defender has 1 foot outside the box and 1 heel on the line. Wins the ball, but then the player throws himself on the turf and they give a penalty. And then all of a sudden the momentum shifts. Skegness gets a second goal moments later. Cheap goal, and just like that, we go from total domination to it's 2-2. Well, it wasn't seconds later. It was the next highlight, but 14 minutes later. But ridiculous penalty call because it wasn't even inside the box where it happened, let alone any sort of scoring chance. He had no teammates around and back to the goal, nowhere to go. Anyway, didn't matter because already Bury had wrapped up the title. They, again, don't drop any points along the way. Just 3 times that they dropped points in the last 23 matches of the season. They were just too damn good. And so we're going to spend another year in the 9th tier. Final totals, 85 points for Bury. We end up on 79, which is the same total we had a season ago. Both teams at plus 45, 74 to Newark, 65 to Skegness, who we just had that draw with. That moved them from 5th up to 4th place, just ahead of Peacehaven, who apparently lost on the final day of the season. And that's it. That's the season in the books. We're going to take a very, very quick look at the squad and just see some basic stats. You can see Parsons, 17 starts, 15 appearances off the bench, 17 goals, so 1 per start on average, 6 assists, 7.34 average. Crawford did pretty dang well as a center back with 4 goals and a few assists himself. Throughout the team, everybody was averaging over 2 points per game played, so there was no super weak player who was coming in and costing us anything. In terms of XG, Coppin had a really good season. Kazeni had an amazing season. Lucas White, definitely not as good on the other wing, but was okay. 12 goals, 7 assists for the year, just under 7 on that average rating. Coppin himself actually didn't even manage 7 this season. 15 goals, 3 assists. We dropped off quite a bit from last year. Kazeni's still keeping it up and leading the way with 24 goals, 9 assists, and a 7.3 rating. Stephen Reed, though, still the surprise player. He moved from right back to left back this season, partway in after Column left us, and still 17 assists to lead the league and set a new record. The previous record was 15, so phenomenal there from Stephen Reed. He grabbed 1 goal himself there on that cross that ended up drifting in one of those last games here of the season. Training ratings, most of the team in that 7 to 8 range with a 1 for facilities. That's certainly not bad. That's down to having a really good manager helping boost up all the players. Holmes ended up with a couple assists himself and a better than 7.0 rating. That's good for a goalkeeper. In terms of improvement, you can see there's not much out there. Parsons improved a bit this season. Looks like Combs improved a bit. Combs might even be better than Holmes now, apparently, on paper. So we'll have to compare those two. Holmes has been solid, and Holmes has really good... Let's see. No, jumping reach isn't that good. Aerial reach is a 9. Reflexes are only a 4, so he's surprisingly doing well considering. Combs. Aerial reach is not good either. He's good at handling. His reflexes are much higher. He might actually be better already at this point than Holmes and could end up taking over as a starter here soon, especially if he's developing like that just through training. Imagine what would happen if we give him the playing time. Fletcher Williams, another one who has improved steadily. Partridge also since joining the team. Both of those guys have improved a bit, but they're still at the bottom end. Overall, as a team, not much change in terms of progress. And that's down to low potential players and really poor facilities. Not a bad season. It was not a bad season, considering this is just about the same team. I mean, we had a couple key players out, couple key players in, but no change in the overall quality. This is the same team that won the 10th tier. We go up into the 9th tier, and there just happened to be one really good team in Bury. They were just insanely good. If there was a promotion playoff, I would think we would probably be a favorite to win it, though Newark would certainly give us a run for our money. But there isn't. It's one team up. That's it. And so we end up missing out to a really, really good team. We pulled one surprise result against them, but they had one stretch during the season where they dropped a handful of matches, but from mid-season on, they were just unbeatable. And their only loss in the second half of the season was to us, and that was a surprise, and that was lucky. That was really lucky that we got that win. But otherwise, they had a couple draws, and then it was nothing but wins. So Bury was just freaking unbeatable. They were so amazing down the stretch, and ultimately we finished second best, which is what we were. We were the second best team, so we finished right where we belonged. That's going to do it for this episode and this season. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.